We're doing good. All right. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you very much for being here for this week's issue, this week's program of Independence Amplified Maryland. We're pleased to have you here this week. We have today a fascinating opportunity to hear from some folks. Let me tell you a couple things before we get there, though. In a moment, you will be muted. You can unmute yourself or demutify yourself, as the case may be, in order to ask questions. And or you can raise your hand, or you can put your questions in the chat. Either way, we'll get to them. And this program is being recorded for posterity, which will usually mean you can see the program by Wednesday or so on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So please feel free to go there. You can't interact with them as well as you can with us, though.
This is Mike Wallace. Do you know Mike? He's a blind guy that runs the...
There's somebody talking in there about Mike Bullis. Oh, dear. All right. Okay. Oh, there, you got yourself muted. Good job. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. And again, welcome. It's our pleasure to do these programs. We started this out back in March 18th or 19th, back right when the pandemic began itself. And here we are, 8 months later, still doing it, and looking forward to another few months of these programs. We'll probably continue them after the pandemic, even after life goes back to normal. We have the feeling that this has been a great opportunity for all of us to connect with each other. If you have community announcements, don't forget that you can make your community announcements about programs or activities. We'll do that toward the end. But for now, I'm stealing time from the folks from the Bridges program. Let me say a couple of words about the Bridges program before I turn it over to them. When you're going to start a statewide program, the first thing you look to, the first and most important thing you look to is the key people involved and whether they can write the grant and work with each other in the process. And I was totally impressed with the team that put this grant together. Some of them I had never worked with before, but they were phenomenal. They are a group of people dedicated to helping blind folks and people with low vision figure out what's going on in the world and be successful at what's going on in their world. So I'm going to turn this program first over to Hindley Williams. I believe Hindley Williams and Carlton N. Walker are both here today, both consummate professionals in the field of disability and cross disability, as well as work with blindness and low vision. So today I have the pleasure of introducing someone who has worked with us off and on for maybe 8 or 10 years now. She started when she was 2 years old. And that is Hindley Williams. Hindley Williams, who is an independent living specialist at our center and who never leaves a job unfinished. She's a phenomenal person to work with. Don't ever try to steal her from me. Hindley, you're on.
Thanks for that very kind introduction. It's very excellent to be here today. We're really looking forward to the opportunity to share more about this research, or this program, excuse me, with you all. And this is a presentation about the Bridges Transition Help Desk. And I'm going to have my colleague introduce herself in just a moment. But one of the things I want to say right off the bat, so that you all know that this does apply to you all across the state. Many of you know that Centers for Independent Living are divided up to serve different counties. Not this program. The Image Center usually serves Baltimore County, Baltimore City, and Harford County, but this grant that we're going to be talking about today serves the entirety of the state of Maryland. So we have a lot of Center for Independent Living staff on here. You all can add us to your toolbox if you want to refer folks to us. Also, you know, people can self-refer. If you're a community member and you want to just give us a call yourself, feel free to reach out. But this is a service that is available across the state of Maryland. So that's very, very exciting. I am going to give Carlton the floor so that she can introduce herself and share a little bit about her background before we move forward.
Certainly. Good afternoon. I almost said morning. Oh, it's a Monday. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carlton Ann Cook Walker. Name's far too long, so Carlton is great. I
Let's see. Talk about them for more people.
I beg pardon? Okay. Great. I live in Pennsylvania, but I do a lot of work in Maryland, and I have for a while, since 2005 actually, when my then 4-year-old child, Anna Catherine, we found out that Anna was blind, has some residual vision, but found out that she's blind. And began a beautiful and ongoing 15-year, so far, relationship with National Federation of the Blind in Maryland. I got to know some wonderful people down there, and I've got into the blindness field. I was an attorney before I became a wife, before I became a mom, before I became the mom of a blind child, knowing that my child was blind. But along the way, things kind of got difficult in school, which I think happens a lot with lots of different disabilities. And before I go on, I will say that I am dyslexic as well. I have mild dyslexia, and it actually was not diagnosed till college. So I definitely know about the difficulties of failure to diagnose and treat and ameliorate disabilities. But my blind child was not getting what she needed in school, so I became a teacher of blind students, and I did that for a little more than 6 years in an itinerant basis. I went to work for NFB, and then I had to quit full-time work for the last 2 years of my child's high school because high school was really bad. My child wasn't getting what she needed, and it was, if not causing, certainly exacerbating anxiety issues with which my child is now 19 still struggles mightily. So quit my work, and it's full-time mom, aide, advocate, brailleist for Anna Catherine's last 2 years of high school. Fast forward, Anna is now on medical leave from Louisiana Center for the Blind, but I was approached this past spring in 2020 to put together a project idea for blind students in Maryland. And this is what we came up with after a fair amount of research, what kinds of things were needed, what was going right, what wasn't. And I am very, very blessed to be working with Mike and Hindley. I knew Hindley from the National Federation of the Blind in Pennsylvania, where she served as president of the student division and served quite ably. I just knew Mike. I didn't know Mike. I knew of Mike. And I'm very, very blessed to be working on this project.
Awesome. Let me see. Am I unmuted? Yes, I am. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much, Carlton. We're so happy to be working with you on this project. So what exactly is the Transition Help Desk? Let me kind of give you all some details about what the Transition Help Desk is and how it can help you. So the Transition Help Desk is primarily geared towards transition age youth who are blind or have low vision. And to be a little bit more specific, that is kind of targeted ages 14 to 21. So late high school through college. What we often say though is, even though the grant is directed at that, we're not going to turn anyone away. You know, you all know we're a Center for Independent Living. We take all kinds of calls all the time for all different kinds of disabilities and resources. So if you're a blind person who's 23 or 24 and you have some questions, definitely feel free to give us a call. We're not going to, like I said, we're not going to turn anyone away. But this help desk is geared towards answering any kind of question that a blind or low vision student or someone looking to go get a job or an internship, any kind of question that a person in that type of situation might have. And we're available by email and we're available by phone, voicemail only since we're working remotely, but we check the voicemail often, so you'll get a timely call back. As well as Facebook. So email, phone, and Facebook. You know, we want to be accessible to you all. We know that some people don't want to just pick up the phone and call. It makes them feel a little bit better to send an email, so we're available by email. Some people don't, it's just too much to communicate in writing, so we're available by phone. Whatever is more accessible for you, you know, we're willing to create that environment for you that is most conducive to giving you the information that you need. This help desk is for students specifically, but it's also for teachers, educators, and parents who are supporting those students. And so we want to welcome calls from those folks as well. Primarily speaking, Carlton is going to be working with the educators and the parents, and I am going to be working with the students. But of course, you know, there are going to be times where we'll collaborate and do what's needed depending on, you know, the kind of calls that come in. To share a little bit about my background, I am blind myself. I also have several other disabilities. And I graduated from Baltimore County Public Schools in 2012. So I live in Baltimore County. I work in Baltimore County. You know, I've been in Maryland my whole life, except for when I went to college for 4 years in Pennsylvania, where I met Carlton. And so, you know, I've been in this area. I've been a client with Doors. I've gotten services from the Image Center way back when I was in high school. And because of my work as an independent living specialist, I'm very familiar with the resources and different things that are available to folks who are blind or have low vision in this area. One thing that Mike and Carlton have both talked about that I really want to drive home here is that because of Carlton's wide array of experiences and because of our wide array of experiences here at the Image Center with all types of disabilities, we understand that people are going to call us who are, you know, they're blind and they have low vision, but they have other disabilities that go along with that. And so if you have questions about how those disabilities intersect and, you know, what resources are going to be the most helpful to you, we are totally equipped to be able to handle those types of questions. And even if you just want to give us a call, you don't have any questions specifically, but you just want to bounce some ideas off of someone, you know, just talk about, you know, how job searching, what's it like to job search when you're blind or visually impaired, or maybe have additional disabilities as well. What's that like? And we can just talk. We can get on the phone for 45 minutes, an hour, however long you need. And we can talk and brainstorm together about how to do something like that. So, you know, we're here for questions. We're here for feedback. We're here to just talk to someone who understands. So Carlton, I'll pass it over to you for some additional comments.
Sure. Thank you very much, Hindley. I want to talk about what the background of why we developed this, so it makes sense what we really are offering. We did research about what kinds of things might be needed, and we found that blind students, with or without this additional disabilities, low vision, blind and low vision, students are accepted into college at higher rates than individuals with other disabilities. Okay, that's interesting. But we also found that they graduate from college and are employed at less than half the rate of individuals with other disabilities. So that means there's a gap, and that is certainly not saying that individuals with other disabilities, there isn't a gap there too. Absolutely not. But there is definitely a gap, and what the research we found showed that a lot of that gap is not having information and not knowing how to get information for accessibility. So, and of course, this impacts individuals with additional blindness and additional disabilities at an even greater extent, truly exponentially. Then we researched about ways to work with this, and we found that help desks are actually really great ways to get information to folks, and it's a way for us to help empower people to get information in the future. When you're needing something, it is no time to say, oh, well, hey, let's look at how we can research these things. You're in the weeds. Fire is looking at your door. There is no way that you can learn how to self-advocate or find these things on your own. That's where we are on the help desk. We are here to provide that information, to provide that support, to provide that ear that you need. Over time, as we develop the relationship, and when we provide the information, we share where we got it. We're not hiding the ball. And we are also pushing out information when people ask us questions, not identifying what the question was or who asked it. But for instance, there was recently a parent had a concern about a child making a brownie mix and trying to use some assistive technology to read the directions. That's great, and we definitely answered that question. But I also shared a great website. It's called Directions for Me. All one word, D-R, and 4 spelled out. I don't want to have to spell out loud. I am dyslexic, I really am. But it has, on that website, it has not only the directions, but the nutrition information of literally thousands of items. And this isn't just for blind individuals, but it's great for blind individuals or individuals who don't want to have to read tiny little writing on a box or can't read that writing on the box for whatever reason. So I shared that with her, again, empowering her for the future, but feeding her what she needs. We talk about it as being giving a person to fish and working on the relationship so we can teach them to fish. Some of our other research found that help desks are often, they have super users. I don't ever want to use the term overutilized because there's no such thing. They have super users. Maybe 10% of the people are using 80% of the help desk. And research has shown that that's awesome because that 10% needs it. Either they're rural or there's some other barriers to them getting that information. So if somebody calls us 15 times in a month, fabulous. You can't overuse us. You can be a super user, but you can't be an overuser of the help desk. And Hindley has alluded to this, and I just want to be really, really clear. This is a safe place. It's confidential, and we want to support people. We want to empower people, and we want to help people get that fishing technique down so that when they are in the weeds or in the fires lapping at the door in the future, they can at least know where to go to get started.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So I know for me, you know, when I was in high school and when I was in college, and even when I was leaving college and trying to decide on, you know, what step was next, was it grad school, was it employment? One of the things that has really helped me is having connections with other blind people. The executive director at the Image Center, who you heard from a little bit ago, Mike Bullis, is definitely been a mentor to me for a very long time. And I have a variety of other blind mentors as well, who have really shown me the ropes and allowed me to understand how to do a variety of things non-visually. You know, I mean, 4 years ago, I didn't know how to cook. And I went to work with some blind folks who were able to give me the tools to do things non-visually. And now cooking is one of my favorite hobbies. It's one of my favorite things to do. And very excited to prepare for Thanksgiving. But I couldn't do that without those other people. Both of my parents are sighted. They didn't know how to teach me that. And so even though you might not directly associate cooking or cleaning or something like that with what this help desk is, we know that that's part of living independently. That's part of transitioning. And so if you have questions about those types of things, give us a call. It's not directly related to school, but it's directly related to, you know, building your life and understanding your capacity. And so I'm really lucky to have had those mentors, but I'll tell you, I didn't have those mentors until I was in late high school. I didn't meet any blind folks until I was in late high school. And, you know, I mean, better late than never, absolutely, but I wish I could have had them sooner. And that's another key role of the help desk is we can do some mentoring with you, and we can also connect you with other mentors. If you want to be a scientist, we know blind folks who are scientists, and we can connect you with them, and we can start that mentoring relationship. And so that's one of the big things about this help desk. We are here to answer your questions in the short term and, you know, help you with those quick little, I don't know how to format this questions, but we can also really help you with some long-term outcomes and really help you build relationships that are going to enrich your career, enrich your education, enrich your life, truly, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to learn all of these visual techniques on your own, or excuse me, non-visual techniques on your own. We're here to help you and get you the connections you need to be successful and to be independent. So, you know, I remember in high school, I had a variety of concerns where I didn't know how to format something with JAWS. Or I remember I was doing my applications for college and I had questions about how to request accommodations from my disability services offices. And it was so helpful to have blind folks in my life to ask those questions to. And, you know, in college too, you know, how do you go in person to talk to your professor about your accommodations? Do you send them an email? What's your process? What works for you? I mean, being able to ask those questions from someone else, you know, and then you can incorporate those into your own system that you build. It's very empowering. And we want to give that to all of you and assist you with those questions and those different things.
There's a question in the chat. Are we partnering with NFB on this project? No. I'm going to put something in the chat real quick and I'll be quiet while I do it. Okay, and what's in the chat is that this unique project is being coordinated through the Image Center of Maryland, the Center for Independent Living in Towson, like y'all know, and it is being funded by a grant from the Maryland Department of Education Division of Special Education Early Intervention Services. So this is an Image Center project, but that was a great question. Thank you.
That said, we can definitely give you information about NFB training centers, services, programs, as well as, you know, any other blindness organization that you might be interested in. We can give you info about that and, you know, help you move forward with anything that you might want to do. So yeah, and those, I mean, those organizations are great places to meet mentors, truly, and to meet folks who've been there and who have done that. I don't know if we want to kind of move into questions at this time, or how do we want to proceed?
I'm great with moving into questions.
Okay.
Don't be shy.
I'll tell you all, we've had a number of inquiries already from students, parents, and educators. So, you know, we're moving right along. We're really happy with how this project is going, and we want you all to be a part of it too.
Hindley, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Would the help desk be available for volunteer organizations that work with youth, such as like Scouts or the 4-H or any of those types of groups?
Yeah, any of those groups can give us a call, advocates and allies, or, you know, giving us a call and saying, you know, we have this blind student who wants to be a Boy Scout. We don't know how to make things accessible. Absolutely, we can work with those folks, no problem.
Awesome.
And along those lines, and Hindley said this earlier, we're not making harsh borders. I like to speak of pre-transition students because frankly, from birth on, you're in transition. Legally, you're not, but you are. And so pre-transition students, and hey, if there's 25, 30, 35-year-old who needs our help, we are so happy to help. So don't worry about the labels. And we actually got a Facebook message from a mom in Massachusetts wanting help. And yes, we replied. And Massachusetts is definitely not Maryland, but we're not geographically bound either. And please know that when we say blind, we mean a lot of different things. Any kind of visual impairment qualifies, but honestly, if you have somebody who maybe doesn't have a diagnosis of any kind of visual impairment or low vision, but you think that it might be helpful to talk with us, because actually a lot of people do have some mild visual impairment, but if it is combined with another disability or other things in life that make it difficult, then it can, even something that might be clinically mild in the doctor's office, in the real world, it's not. And it is a barrier, and that's what we're here for.
Well, and I think the power that you guys bring to this in part too is that you're connected with the rest of the blindness and visual impairment community, so you can refer people off to NFB and to other places and to somebody in their local community where they might be able to get assistance. So it's not all about just this Department of Education grant. These folks can get you to other resources in the community and make things happen for you. So if you're a senior and you get losing vision and it's frustrating, give us a call. We probably won't be able to claim you on the grant, but we'll find a way to help you out.
Absolutely.
There is a question in the chat, Hindley.
Would you mind reading it?
Yep. from
Thank you.
Abiola. And she's asking if you could talk about how the help desk support may differ from services that are being offered by DOORS or OBVS.
Okay, so OBVS actually is something that we can provide assistance with. So we can talk with you a little bit about how to even make requests from your counselor and how to, what programs you might want to ask your counselor about. So an example might be if you're in high school and you're thinking about, you know, something to do over the summer, and you're trying to decide between maybe an internship or a volunteer opportunity, or maybe going to a blindness training center for one of their summer programs. You know, you might be able to talk with your DOORS counselor about that. And you can also talk to us, and we can really sit down and kind of pick it apart with you, talk about your goals and see what that might look like, and then maybe come up with a plan that you can take to your DOORS counselor and discuss that with them. And say, you know, here are my options. This is the kind of feedback I got from, you know, someone else who is blind. So, you know, we can't do the direct, like, getting you signed up in a program and, you know, getting all your funding coordinated, but we can give you advice on how to move that forward. And DOORS is a huge part of the process. And it's one of your resources, right? It's one of the resources that blind and low vision students have to bridge them to the next gap, to the next step. And so sometimes people don't always exactly know what to ask from VR and how to exactly get the services that they need. And we can kind of provide some insight on that. And we can even work collaboratively with the DOORS counselor to get folks what they need.
There are some very specific ways to ask for things if you want them out of the rehab system. If you don't ask the right way, you don't get it because you're not saying the right words, you're not pushing the right buttons when you say things. So these folks can help you figure out, how do I make a request so I can get what I want? Because that's really the point of it all. And the rehab system is a complicated bureaucracy that rests on a lot of laws and rules, and if you don't know those rules, you just waste a lot of your time and their time. So yeah, there's a whole secret to getting what you want from DOORS, and these folks can help you with that.
This is
Go ahead, Katie.
sorry. I had another question. Since this is my first time hearing about this, Michael neglected to tell me anything about this wonderful creation that you all put together. I was wondering if you are going to go about connecting people to their local SILs, because I feel like this program might be tapping into people that we might not know about. And so it'd be really great to have that connection with them so we can get them locally connected with our services and supports.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We want to foster those connections, and we hope it goes both ways. We hope that some people, you know, give us a call and we're able to refer them to you for certain services, or maybe people call, you know, the main line at your center and you refer them to us for maybe some specific blindness questions. So we hope that it goes both ways and really strengthens partnerships across the state.
And we do, as part of our intake, we ask which county a person is living in. That is actually part of our intake. We would provide them your information as opposed to shared, because again, we want to be confidential and trusted, safe, but we would certainly encourage them to reach out to you, because that's connections are helpful.
Hey, Hindley and Carlton, this is Siobhan, and I just wanted to say great information, and I have a suggestion that may or may not be helpful in you getting some high school applicants. If you called the Maryland School for the Blind here in Baltimore, Maryland, at 3501 Taylor Avenue, I don't have their number right off. I think it's 443, I can't remember right now, but they usually have high school students, and sometimes they integrate them into public schools part of the time, and that would be perhaps a good avenue to check out and see how your services can help those students there.
Thank you, definitely. Love to do that.
Thanks so much, Siobhan.
So, Hindley, you said you guys have a Facebook page.
Yes, we do.
It's not a group. It's a page, not a group.
It's a page, and you can
Okay.
private message the page.
That's what makes it that safe place. I'm going to put the link, the Facebook link to our, Bridges Facebook page. And I'm going to put it in chat right now.
Awesome.
And please, if you have anything in your area that you would like for us to share on our page, shoot it to us. Because we want to get the information out. And let me get our phone number and email out too. That would be useful.
Hey Hindley, this is Audrey from ARI.
Hi, Audrey.
Hi, I just wanted to say, good job on this. You've since you've come on since at Image, you've done a tremendous amount of things, both with transportation and with this. And good job. This is awesome. You're gonna make a big difference. So kudos.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate those words of encouragement and that support.
Mm-hmm.
We're very excited about this project.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Here are our phone number and email. But before we say all the questions are answered, I just want to maybe whet your appetite a little bit. Some ideas that some questions we've been getting that might help foster some ideas. We had a question about help with an 11-year-old struggling with addiction. And we're shared information about manipulatives, both those you can purchase as well as things at home and ideas of working on that at home. That's one of our pre-transition kiddos. This one was a big one. A student, and we're seeing a lot of issues with distance learning. I think we all know that is probably an issue. The student was given a clip, about a 3.5-minute clip from the movie WALL-E, Pixar movie WALL-E. And if you've ever seen WALL-E, it is almost all visual. There's very little verbiage in it. But this was actually something from Teachers Pay Teachers. So there's a YouTube clip, and then there are some lesson plans associated with it. Not a bad lesson plan, but this totally blind student got a clip that's just from the movie. And she had no clue as to what was going on. And the family actually asked for a transcript of it, thinking, well, maybe that would help. Well, we did the transcript and actually used 3 different sources and shared with them, here are the different transcripts we got from these different sources, so that they, again, give that information for the future. It said, really, the problem with this isn't the lack of transcript, it's the lack of audio description. But again, the student didn't know what the problem was, and the parent didn't know what the problem was. So went that step further and said, okay, that's really the problem. So I have Disney Plus, so I went on Disney Plus, started watching WALL-E, found the clip, and used the Bridges Zoom account to record the audio description of that clip and provided that as a recording to the student. So now the student has what's needed to do the assignment. The student got what the student asked for, but the student also got more. And of course, in the email described all of what was done. So maybe to help the student or parent issue spot in the future. And if it doesn't, that's okay. But we get the information out there. You can tell I'm a teacher. I want to teach, but I don't want to make you do it every second. I don't expect mastery the first time. But that's the kind of thing we want to do, is to certainly answer your question, but also see, is there a question you didn't even know you had, and answer it.
And some of the students too, I've heard from folks who just want to have a conversation about college and, just want to have a conversation about job searching. They don't come with any particular questions, but we just talk. And I can share a little bit about my experience as a blind person, searching for jobs and or applying for college and or internships I've had. And, you know, also talking about, you know, blind friends of mine, blind colleagues of mine, and, you know, maybe sharing a bit about their experiences as well. And we talk and we share ideas, and it helps to give students a fuller picture of what's available to them and how to use the resources that are out there. So we're, as you kind of heard from Carlton, we're willing to be very creative to help people find solutions. And we're here, you know, we're here for all the questions and all the conversations that you want to have that are going to make you feel more empowered.
Yeah, and speaking as somebody who didn't want anything to do with other blind people before until I was 20 or so, I can't believe how much time I wasted by just not meeting people like me and finding out how they did stuff. I spent all my time reinventing the wheel, which is just crazy. I do have to tell you, though, Carlton, this is total confession. My mom has passed away now, so I can say this, but people used to say to me, "Does your mom know Braille?" And I'd say, "No, she doesn't." And in my mind, I'd be thinking, and thank God she doesn't, because I can write anything I want at home, knowing that nobody in my house can read it.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Anna Catherine didn't have that, but I was able to leave notes. Anna was a latchkey kid for a lot of elementary and all of middle and high school. So I'd leave Braille note on the door, and nobody else in the neighborhood could read it.
Absolutely. No. Yeah, no, there were a lot of times when it would have become helpful, but my mom was never going to be up for it. She was working 10, 12-hour days, and just, you know, Braille was probably not the last thing on her mind, but close to it. Yeah. All right, folks, any other questions for these our guests today? All right. Again, we could probably jump to them now so that you don't get cut off at the end before we go to Heather and talk about library resources for folks around the state who need internet access and other library resource services. But before we do that, are there folks on the line on the program today who have information you'd like to get out to the community about meetings you're having or activities you're hosting other than Thanksgiving dinner? Thank you. And talk about anything you got that's upcoming that folks need to know about.
Mike, it's Sarah. I just want to make sure that Carlton and Hindley are well familiar with the Youth Leadership Forum, because there could be youth that are entering their last couple of years in high school who might be interested in applying for. We will be holding it virtually again next summer, because we don't know where we'll be with the pandemic then. But Hindley, I know you've, from time to time interacted with the Youth Leadership Forum, so I want to make sure you know that we're about to have the new application ready, and of course it's accessible and will be on our website. But just thought you may be catching students that wouldn't otherwise know about the Youth Leadership Forum opportunity.
Thanks so much, Sarah. We'll definitely keep an eye out for that application when it goes live.
Yeah, because that's a great opportunity for people who might get involved in advocacy and things like that. This is the time to start kids off. I remember my first trip to the state capitol when I was like 14 years old, and I was just stunned and in awe that this is the place where they make the laws. And from then on, I was just fascinated by politics and how the world worked, and it's never gone away. So
it's very empowering.
Yeah. All right.
Go
ahead, Katie.
It's Katie. I guess I have a community announcement for those who are in Anne Arundel or Howard County. If you are in need of, fabric masks or hand sanitizer or other necessity items, please reach out. And you are a person with a disability, please reach out to us. Also, if you are in need of technology, you're probably on the Zoom, so that's probably not you. But if you know someone in need of technology who is a person with a disability in either county, please contact us as well. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Okay, any other community announcements before we jump over to Heather? And live from our studio in Anne Arundel County. We have Heather Comstock
Live from my basement.
live from her basement.
I hope my kid is done playing harmonica because he was playing harmonica earlier while I was
my.
muted.
Okay.
One of the things that has come up a lot for us at the Image Center has been people being able to access the internet adequately or print things. That's always been and that's been kind of the challenge right now with the pandemic, with our office being closed, is that we don't have the ability to print things for people. And as I've kind of been looking around, I've been kind of collecting information on the different library systems around, and I'm surprised at how many are now offering hotspots that people can check out from the library. So a hotspot is a wireless internet service. It's unlimited data. And Baltimore County actually just sent out a newsletter today. They're doing hotspots and they're checking out Chromebooks. So if anybody needs a laptop as well, they can borrow those through the library system. The Pratt libraries in Baltimore City also offer mobile hotspots. Harford County offers Wi-Fi access at the branches. So a lot of the libraries you can drive. If you can get to the library and sit in the parking lot, you can access their Wi-Fi. I know many area libraries boosted their Wi-Fi, and also a lot of the public schools to make free Wi-Fi accessible for people who needed to connect to the internet. Let's see, who else? Anne Arundel County is doing hotspots. Montgomery County has wireless hotspots available. Prince George's County has hotspots available. Calvert, Charles, and St. Mary's counties are all offering hotspots that you can check out. And a lot of the libraries are offering remote printing services. So if you have internet access, but maybe not a printer, you can send a print job to the library. They will print it out, and then you can go and pick it up, do contactless pickup at the library branches. So if you've got paperwork or forms that you needed to print to send in, you could take advantage of those curbside pickups for the printing resources. And let's see, most of the library pages are going to be great places to start if you're looking to connect with the local county resources as well, like the health departments. If you want to find out about testing, COVID testing, a lot of them have links to reliable information about the pandemic, about services that are available, information about the moratoriums on the electric and water bill, utility cutoffs, as well as rent payments, that sort of thing. So the library websites are a really great first place to start. And if you still need assistance, most of the libraries are staffed. They may not be open to the public, but you can call and get assistance over the phone as well. And anybody have any information about library systems or resources near you that you've been able to send clients or consumers to if they needed internet access or resources like printing services?
So Heather, this is Katie.
Hey.
I guess I can turn on my video again. Some of the, so Independence Now, the Freedom Center, and ARI have gotten together to work on a technology access guide, which will have 3 areas, one being places to get technology, another being places to access Wi-Fi or data, and then lastly, places to learn kind of computer or digital literacy skills. So that's going to be hopefully coming out in the beginning of December. So awesome. Serena is on here. I don't know if Lori's on here, and Betsy, I don't know if they're, but they've been working hard on it, and it's beautiful. It's coming together. So we're happy to release that and share that with the group. And the libraries definitely made it on the list.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how many are offering hotspots now as an option. So if you don't have reliable internet or can't get reliable internet or can't afford reliable internet, some of the systems are allowing you to borrow hotspots with unlimited data for up to 21 days as part of your library. And we've been using our library card to binge watch TV shows through Canopy. Baltimore County has a free week subscription to Acorn TV, so you can watch all those British shows. And so we've been taking full advantage of the tech services available through our libraries. So that was just all I had, was just that if anybody needs, is having trouble getting access to the internet, check your local library first. I don't know if Mike had a close out or if anybody had anything to close out with.
Yeah, so I was just, my apologies, folks. I was just trying to find the calendar, the handy dandy secret I am calendar for next Monday to see what we got going on.
It's Dave. You can ask Dave and he'll tell you all
Dave.
about it.
Yes.
I will tell you all about it. It's not me personally, but because who would want to tune in for that? But as you all know, we are still currently in open enrollment season. I believe open enrollment, boy, I don't want to say the wrong word, but I believe it ends December 7th, a day that will live in infamy. So it's that day is fast approaching, and next week we thought it would be good if we did a program about the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, SHIP. So, because they are the people who know Medicare and benefits and all that stuff maybe better than anyone. That's what they do all year long and study all the time. So next week we have Nicole Renault. She is the SHIP program coordinator from Carroll County, so that's one of the counties that we work in. But she's going to talk about the SHIP program statewide. There are SHIP counselors available for free in every part of the state. So she's going to give us a rundown on exactly what they do and how they can benefit you.
And these are the Slimby and Quimby and all those weird initials people, right?
Yes. Yeah, all that crazy stuff.
All that stuff, and it has to do with you have Medicare, and if you have and you need supplements of various kinds and you can't afford them, there are all kinds of options out there which I can't even begin to pronounce. So show up.
Yeah, and they change yearly.
Yeah.
So
and the rules always keep changing on me, so that keeps this whole layer of folks, many of them volunteers who literally go who are working out in the counties to help people get signed up. So hang in there for that next week on IAM on Monday, and look forward to y'all hopefully having a wonderful Thanksgiving time, even though it's a bit of a muted celebration, I know, for many this year, and not being able to be with your families. But this will be over. There is a light at the end of the tunnel that looks like a vaccine, 3 or 4 of them coming online at this point in this coming year. So this too shall pass. Hang in there, folks. I know it can get very discouraging, but in the meantime, stay tuned with IAM and send us your questions. And if you have thoughts about programs that we should have, things that we should be doing that you think might be of value, and in particular, if you have thoughts about discussions you think we should have, I've been in the back of my mind thinking about this program lately and whether or not there isn't a place for some kind of a discussion format. Maybe we would make it part of the regular IAM, or maybe we'd add it on at 3 o'clock to 3:30 so that we could have some discussion opportunities for folks. So send me your thoughts about that. You can send them to info@imagemd.org, or you can send them on my email address, mbullis@imagemd.org. I'd be glad to talk with you about it. This is your program, so please let us know how it can serve you better. And remember that nothing's free in life, and so if you have an opportunity to send us a few dollars, we would very much appreciate it. These programs cost us money, and we are struggling, like all nonprofits, to make ends meet, particularly this year. So with that, take care, everyone, and thank you for being with us this week on Independence Amplified Maryland.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep, thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Happy Thanksgiving.